Hello everybody, welcome back to Fifield Junction, welcome back to another review for you. Today's loco, as we can see, is by Heljan first of all, so I'm pretty sure this is actually going to be the first ever loco I've looked at from Heljan on the channel. I don't think I've looked at a model by them before, so this should be quite special I think. But as we can see, if you haven't worked it out already, we've got a class 33 for us today, so yeah, quite a special review I think. Haven't looked at anything from Heljan before and haven't looked at a class 33 before. Which, well, I suppose it kind of makes sense because Heljan are the only ones that actually produce these, unless you consider like the old Lima version. But in terms of actual premium models, yeah, only Heljan have ever done these. So yeah, not really much choice I suppose for these locos. You've got to go to Heljan for these. But yeah, haven't looked at one before, so hopefully this will be a little bit of an interesting review. Hopefully, you never know, but yeah, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure hopefully this will be a bit interesting. But yeah, the Heljan Class 33, they have done, I think, a few batches of these now. This particular one isn't from the very latest batch, though. This is, I think it's probably from the previous one, the one before, because the very latest batch the Heljan have done of these, they've got 21 pin sockets, and I think they've probably got a few other minor differences here and there. But this one is an older batch, so this is still 8-pin sockets and stuff, and quite basic lighting and all sort of bits like that. But nonetheless, still, from what I've seen so far, still a fairly decent model. It is second-hand, by the way. It was bought second-hand, and I have already had it out the box and run it and everything. So we shouldn't need to do any running in or anything with this model today. So it should be a bit quicker in terms of actually getting it on the track and running it. But this particular loco, as you can probably see by the sticker there, this was purchased second-hand from Rails of Sheffield. Price that I paid approximately £119.50. And she is DCC fitted as well, so there is an 8-pin decoder already fitted to the loco as well, so I don't need to worry about fitting a chip to her. In fact, you can actually probably see the tape there. Yeah, you can see the masking tape there behind the window that's actually holding the chip in place. Didn't realise of that at the time, so I might want to remove that, because I have taken the body off temporarily as well. To check everything inside and make sure everything's okay. And I re-secured the chip in place, and when I did that, yeah, I didn't realise the tape was actually going to be visible through the windows. So yeah, something I'll probably have to fix in the future, but just try and have to ignore it for now. Now the Class 33s in real life, quite versatile locomotives, certainly did their job well. 98 produced in total between 1960 and 1962. And 29 of them are preserved and still going, which is quite good. Well, I say not all of them are probably still going. I'm sure some of those 29 preserved locos are probably out of service or stored or under overhaul or something. But nonetheless, 29 of them do still exist as far as I know, which is quite good. I suppose not too bad considering only 98 of them were built, which I say is probably quite small, certainly compared to a lot of other locomotives. But yeah, still quite a few of them going, which is quite cool. Now, this isn't actually my first Heljan Class 33. I do actually already have one of these. I'm in West Coast Railways, so you probably may have seen it in some other videos, parked up in one of these sidings. But the reason I haven't actually done that one is because, unfortunately, when I actually got that model, I ended up having quite a major problem with it. It was a really bad runner. It was really rough, really noisy. So it's actually I've actually had to convert that loco to single bogie drive. So one of the bogies isn't actually driven by the motor anymore, because these locos still do have the usual sort of diesel mechanism, if you like. So motor in the centre, flywheels and drive shafts and drives all of the wheels. But I basically had to take out one of those drive shafts and worm gears and all of the gears in the bogie as well, to actually get the loco to run properly. So I believe it was more of a manufacturing defect with that loco, which is why it ran so badly. I think two of the gears in one of the bogies were sort of meshing too close together, so there was loads of friction, and the loco ran really, really badly. It was awful. So yeah, only one bogie on that loco is actually driven now, and that loco now does run a lot better. But because of because of the modifications that I had to make to that loco, it's why I chose in the end not to do a video on it. But finally, now we've got this one, I can finally do a video on one of these, which is good. And the particular one we've got today, as we can see, it's in the rail freight distribution sector livery. The exact number, can't see it because it's hidden by the box. It should be on the end of the box actually if we have a look. So it's a 33 subclass 2, this particular one. Model code is 33371, 8-pin DC ready as we can see, and it's 33206, rail freight distribution sector livery. And that's all that's on the box. There's nothing else on there, so I don't think there's much else really on there for us to look at. So we might as well open it up and have a look. So we slide off this sleeve. I say it's a sleeve, it's sort of partially a sleeve. It has also got an actual flap on one of the box, which is a bit strange, but that's what they've done. And then we can see the logo there, sort of packed up in the usual sort of block of ice packaging. So if we slide that out, we can get to all the other bits inside. And we can see the couplings in the top there. These were originally fitted to the logo, but I ended up taking them off because they ended up clashing with the details on the buffer beam. Because for some reason, Heljan like to fit the buffer beam detail to the logo from the factory. So if you actually want to fit couplings to actually haul stuff with these logos, you have to go in and rip all the details off, which is a bit silly, really. I don't know why Heljan decides to do that, but it seems to be a common thing they like to do. So sort of just have to deal with that, I suppose. So first things first, so we've got the instructions. So have a quick look through these, and hopefully they'll list everything that we need to know. There we go. I think I've got it the right way. There we are. So yeah, quick look at these. So class 3-2. So you've got the sort of usual bits there. So I think that talks about sort of, yeah, thank you for purchasing this logo. Talks about the motor. So apparently a powerful 5-pole skew, 5-pole motor, heavy die-cast chassis. Ensure a haulage capacity that will meet most modelers' demands. I'm sure it will, but sometimes Heljan can be a bit iffy with some of their mechanisms, certainly from what I've seen in the past. But from my experience so far with this loco, in the small amounts that I have run this loco since I've had it, it has performed very well. So fingers crossed we'll get some nice, good performance from it later. I think that's talked about sort of the other bits. Talks about parts and stuff like that. Fair enough. Quick look inside. So first things first, we've got buffer beam detailing there. Well, it's a little bit irrelevant because most of it is fitted from the factory. There's a few bits that aren't though. I think like the snow plows. You can see them in the top there. They're still not fitted, so you can fit those if you want to. Some other bits there. Headco displays. Are they in the top? Are they an accessory bag in the top? I'm not too sure actually. I haven't really looked through the accessories too much on these, unless they've already been fitted. Again, this is a second-hand logo, so I'm guessing they might already be fitted to this logo by the previous owner. Fair enough. Small bits there. I think that's more details. Roof pole position. Fair enough. So fitting a decoder. So yeah, it talks there about the open sockets. So yeah, nice and easy to chip these. But getting the bodies off, it's not, I wouldn't say it's the easiest in the world with these. It is just clipped on. They can be a little bit iffy, but once you work out how to do it, it's not too bad really. But yeah, there are easier logos to get into, but there also are harder ones. So it's fair enough. But yeah, nice and easy to chip, and plenty of room inside for a chip if you decide to do it. And then on the back, I think that's just more sort of stuff on there. So yeah, a bit of history and stuff like that. So yeah, fair enough. It does talk about how to remove the body in there, but there's no photos or anything actually showing you how to do it. It just talks about clipping it. So that's about it, really. So yeah, that's fair enough. But anyway, you can get the logo back in shots, and we can slide off the plastic. It's a little bit of a tight fit. There we are. So yeah, we've got the couplings there. We'll leave those in the top for now, but they are NEM, so you can sort them out quite easily. Have a quick look at some of these accessories here. There's quite a few. So there's another coupling in there, fair enough. It's two couplings actually. Maybe these aren't the original couplings that the logo came with there. Maybe the previous owner has fitted those from spares that they've had or something. It's fair enough. But yeah, you can see there as well, we've got these snow plows there. So if you want to fit those, you can cut them from the sprue and fit them. I don't know why Heljan don't cut these from the sprue from the factory, because pretty much everyone else does, but they don't. So that's fair enough. Put this back in there for the moment. And then we've also got this. We've got a plug of some sort, and we've also got some chain link couplings I think we've got there as well, which is fair enough. I'm not too sure what this is though. I don't even know if this actually comes with the logo or not. I'm guessing it does because it's in here, but I'm not entirely sure what it's used for, unless it's for, maybe it's for a speaker, for sound maybe. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but it's in there, so fair enough. And I think that's it. I don't think there's any other accessories in here. So I think we'll lift this up, make sure those couplings don't fall out. Then we can grab the logo, lift it out, and then we can put the packaging to one side. Get that out of the way. There we are. And there she is. And yeah, to be fair, she's not a bad model by any means. She is certainly, she does have her place, I think. She's certainly not too bad. Plenty of weight to her, quite a heavy model, which is good. Buffers are sprung, which is nice. You can see all the detail there that's all been fitted. There's still a few bits I think are missing. I think the chain links are probably one thing, considering they're still in the bag, and obviously those snow plows as well. And they have to be something I'll look into at a later date. I'll have to fit some more of that. The liver application, really nice, crisp transformation between all the colours. It's all been done very, very well. You can see the number there. You've got the windows there. You've even got the driver's window there, which is sort of in the half open position, which is quite cool. You've got all the glazing down the side as well. Obviously, normally there'd be all engine room detail behind that, but obviously it's just a chassis block. Again, you have to ignore that yellow tape there that's holding the chip down. I will move that at some point. Again, I didn't know it would show through the windows when I did it. We've got the bogie detail as well. It's not too bad, really. I suppose not quite up to the standard of other locos that we're used to from this day and age. But again, this is a little bit of an old model now, so it's probably not going to be quite up to what we're used to. But either way, it's still not too bad. You've got some nice etched metal handrails there behind by the doors. The doors don't open, but it's kind of fair enough, I suppose. You've got the roof there. You have got a proper etched grille on the roof as well, which you can just about see through. You can see through to the mechanism below. I think there is a fan behind that as well. You can't see it incredibly well, but it is there from what I can see. You've got some nice separately painted sort of white detail on the roof as well. You've got the exhaust there. I think, is that a scratch or something? There might be, I'm not too sure. But yeah, still not too bad by any means. You've got some detail on the fuel tanks. You can see the dial there. Some more painted details. You've got all the sort of piping and cable detail there as well. It's not too bad. Mechanism wise, as I said earlier, all-wheel drive, all-wheel pickups, so all of the wheels are driven. They've all got pickups on them as well, and yeah, and as I said, does certainly on this loco give some nice reliable performance, which again we'll get to see later. You can see the NEM pockets there, so if you want to fit a coupling, that's the pockets, the way you can fit it. Heljan's design of the NEM pockets is a little bit unusual, I think, in my opinion, especially compared to most other manufacturers. You can remove the pockets, but I don't think they're incredibly easy to do. But at least you can do it, which is fair enough. But yeah, overall, not too bad. Not too bad by any means. Again, the lighting detail on this loco, it's quite basic to be fair. It's literally just the high intensity headlights, and that's it. There's no other lighting on this loco whatsoever. You just got the high intensity headlights at each end, and that's it. It's no other lighting whatsoever. No cab no cab lighting, no tail lights. It's literally just those. That's it. Well, I'm pretty sure there's no tail lights. I certainly haven't seen any. And when I took the body off, I don't remember seeing any LEDs for tail lights, and it doesn't really look like they're going to work. But yeah, again, I'm pretty sure it's just those that high intensity headlight that works. And it's not great, I'll be honest. It's not the greatest lighting in the world, because I'm pretty sure that these locos do actually still use bulbs. There's no LEDs inside. It literally is like actual incandescent bulbs inside, so they're not incredibly bright, to be honest. It's still a quite nice colour temperature, I would say, but it's certainly not the best lighting in the world, to be honest. I think it could be better, and I'm sure that on the newest versions of these it is better, but certainly on this example, yeah, not great. It could be better, to be honest. But gloss to go with that. Elsewhere on the end, it's not too bad. You've got some nice, again, more etched handrails there. Don't think they're fitted incredibly well, actually. That one's a bit loose. And obviously, well, yeah, the codes there, obviously, where that would technically be the, well, I say that would be another headlights or tail lights there behind the blinds, because they would light up in real life. So obviously on older versions of these, you have the head code on the front there, and that would light up. But on this loco, it doesn't. It's literally just a sticker, basically. But it's nice that we've got it. Got some nice etched, I think they're metal anyway. Either way, they are separately fitted wipers. No, they're just made of plastic, actually. They're not metal. They are quite flimsy things. But either way, it's nice that they're separately fitted, so they still look quite good. And you've got the usual cab glazing there again as well. Cab detail, it's okay. It's not great again, but you can see some detail in there. You can see the seats, you can see some of the controls. But I suppose one big thing is the height of the cab floor, basically right up to the windows and the doors, which isn't great, I suppose, really for realism. And you would expect these days some more painting detail in there. At least you would expect to see sort of maybe the seat painted, some of the controls and the dials picked out. So yeah, it's certainly compared to modern standards, it's not great. But again, we have seen worse. There are locos out there that basically don't have anything in the cab whatsoever. But yeah, not too. It could be worse, but could be better. But yeah, overall, it's not a bad loco, I'd say, by any means. There is room for improvements, and again, obviously, with this being an older version, I'm sure on the newer ones that there is some improvements over these. But yeah, it's not a bad model by any means. Again, it's okay. I would say for the price that I paid, obviously, I did have paid for a decoder in that price as well. But let's say if we subtract the price of the decoder, so maybe £20 to £25. I'd say overall maybe 90. I've paid about £90 to £100 roughly speaking, I suppose, for this loco, which I would say is about right to an extent. Wouldn't really want to pay much more than that, I would say, for these. Certainly no more than £110, 120 at the absolute max. I would say for analog for one of these. Really, I wouldn't pay much more than that personally for one of these. But yeah, overall, it's an acceptable loco. It looks alright, and yeah, it looks alright. Pretty well detailed, nice livery. But I could maybe use a few more features here and there. But one thing I will say is, certainly from my experience with this example, performance-wise, certainly cannot fault it. So I think what we need to do is head up to the layout, get on the track, and see how she runs. Okay, so here we are back above the layout. So if we just grab the loco and we'll get her on the track, should be nice and easy. Not too many wheels to get on today. There we are. I think we are ready to go. Yes, we are. So as I mentioned earlier, she is chipped. There's an 8-pin Hatton's decoder, I believe it is, in this loco, fitted into the sockets. Obviously that was done by, I don't know if it was done by Rails or by a previous owner. I'm guessing it was probably done by a previous owner, with it being a pre-owned model. But yeah, either way. So yeah, certainly from my experience, this decoder does give some very good performance in this loco. And obviously, if you were to buy this loco on analog or fit it with a different decoder, then your performance may differ from this. But yeah, certainly from my experience with this loco, yeah, I can't really fault the performance on this. So first things first, if we just select her number, there we are, and let's get those lights on. Yeah, there we go. They are on. I don't think you can see it very well though. There we are. Yeah, it's not the greatest lighting in the world, I will be honest. Considering this is supposed to be a high intensity headlight, that's not incredibly bright, is it? No, I'm not expecting it to be mega bright. Obviously with this loco sort of being an 80s, 90s loco, the bulbs, they wouldn't have been obviously as bright as maybe like an LED sort of bulb that we'd see on some of our locos today. But still would expect a bit brighter than that. That's not great. And as I said, these do use bulbs instead of LEDs. So yeah, I'm not surprised that the brightness isn't great. But at least we've got lighting as basic as it is. It's literally just this lights at both ends. That's it. Again, no tail lights, no cab lights, nothing else. That's literally all we've got on this loco. So yeah, in terms of lighting, yeah, at least we've got some, but it's not great. So I think all we need to do now is give her a wiggle and see what she's like. She has been sat in her box for a week or two, so let's just give her a bit of a wiggle. Oh, there we go, going the other way instead. Yeah, it's not too bad. Obviously, again, the decoder is going to influence most of the performance that we see here. Let's try the other way. Yeah, I think that's the slowest speed step that I can get on this decoder. I have programmed it to my liking, and yeah, I think this is as slow as I can get it to go. But it's not too bad, as we can see, very, very smooth, very consistent. She's not jerking about at all, maybe a little bit here and there. But yeah, it's not too bad, and very quiet as well. I can only hear a tiny bit of humming coming from the motor. But apart from that, yeah, that's really, really good. Really, really smooth. Yeah, beautiful. So I think we just need to get her going on the layout, so get her going a bit faster as well. And see what she's like. So go about maybe 50% power, maybe a bit less. We'll see what it's like, and yeah, see how she handles the layout. So I've set her to about 35%, maybe 40 on the controller. And yeah, it's not too bad really. Maybe a tiny bit of noise coming from the gearing every now and then, but for the most part, yeah, very, very smooth. Yeah, that's beautiful. Can't really fault that at all, to be honest. No horrible noises coming from anywhere. Yeah, that's beautiful. And considering she's barely ran with me at all either, she's only probably done a few laps with this layout at the most since I got her. Yeah, already she's running this beautifully. She hasn't had any major running in. Yeah, certainly not to the extent that I normally do with a new model. When I say new, obviously this is second hand, but even then I would still try and give the second hand model a sort of 15-20 minute running in period if I can. And this doesn't even have that yet, and already she's running this well. So I've increased her speed a little bit, and I would say, if anything, she's even smoother than she was at the lower speeds that we had her going a moment ago. Yeah, she's beautiful. She's a great little loco. I know Heljan can be a bit hit and miss. They can produce some quite not so good models, shall we say. But they can also produce some really nice ones. I would certainly say that their 33 is one of those models. I know that it's still not 100%. I believe there is still some inaccuracies in some of the older versions. I think the roof profile is one of the sort of faults. I think with some of the older versions. Well, maybe even these versions as well. You have to sort of quote me on that because I'm not entirely sure. But I know that there was some issues with the roof profile on some of the older models of these. But even despite that, performance-wise, livery-wise, detail-wise, yeah, I really like them. I still think they're great little locos. If you want one of these, I would recommend it. Plenty of liveries to choose from as well, right down from your BR greens and BR blues, right through your 80s with your railfreight liveries like this, and even up to modern day as well with your West Coast Railways liveries as well, such as the one over there that I talked about earlier, which obviously again only single bogey drive now. Yeah, overall a great loco. Definitely recommend it if you want one. Definitely a worthy addition to a collection, I would say.
So now let's do some ratings for the Heljan Rail Freight Distribution Sector Class 33. So the detail on the loco, I've given it 8 out of 10 because I would say on the whole the detail has been very nicely done. The only things I would really mark it down for is the lack of lighting. And whilst we do have some lighting, it is incredibly basic with just those high intensity headlights, and they haven't been executed in the best of lights, I would say, either. Being bulbs, as we saw, they are quite dim, they don't look the greatest in the world. Some kind of LED would have been a bit better. It would have been brighter as well, which I would say is the main thing with the lighting that we have got. But even some cab lights, some tail lights, that certainly would, I think, make the loco just a bit better all round. It would add a bit more to it, and also some more cab detail as well. Seeing a bit more painted detail in the cabs, maybe some decoration on some of the dials and gauges and stuff like that. It would make the loco look a bit better than what it does at the moment. But apart from that, I would say detail everywhere else is very, very good. Again, at least we have got some lighting on there. Again, as basic as it is, it's nice that we've got some. The livery application is absolutely beautiful. Nice application of the rail freight logos and everything. Can't fault that there. And everywhere else, you've got some nice detail. We've got various etched handrails. The bogies are nicely detailed, and even the roof as well. For the most part, it has been done very well, but again, a few little niggles here and there. But apart from that, yeah, detail overall, it gets a thumbs up from me. Performance-wise, yeah, can't fault it. A beautiful performer, definitely 10 out of 10. Really good, smooth, constant performer. I know that the decoder is partially responsible for that. Obviously, decoders do influence loco performance quite a bit. On analog, yours may vary, even with a different decoder, it may vary as well. But I've got to review the model that I've got in front of me. This is how it performs, and in my opinion, I can't fault it at all. Quality-wise, for the most part, I would say the loco is very good quality. Again, going back to the cab and the lighting, I would say that quality-wise for me, again, I think this is what lets it down. Again, better quality lighting would have been nicer, and not so much in terms of how the cab's detailed. It's more just the height of the cab floor that I think for me just sort of lets it down slightly. For some people it may not matter, but just looking at it at times, just seeing how high it is, I think it would have been nicer to have a bit of a lower cab floor. It would just look a bit better and be able to get more detail in there. Getting crew in there would be a bit easier and a bit better as well. So again, quality wise, for the most part, yeah, very good. Again, loco is very well built, very well decorated. It feels nice and sturdy in the hands. Just a few little niggles here and there, again, a bit like the detail really. Value for money, then this was a bit of a difficult one, I would say, for me. Price wise, I still would say is very good. £119.50 for this, with a decoder inside. Overall is very good value, I would say. I think it would be nice for maybe a bit cheaper. Again, I think the loco is missing a few little features here and there that we've already mentioned, that I think to let the value down ever so slightly. But apart from that, still I would say this loco is very good value. Again, about £100 or so for one of these. Still very good value for money, certainly compared to a lot of other locos these days, which can even be well over £200. Well, I suppose even the very latest batch of these, when Heljan released them, the RRP for those was well over £200, which certainly is a bit too much, I would say, for these. But for what I paid for this one, overall on the whole, I'm not overly disappointed. I still think I got quite a good value model for my money. So that's an overall score of 8.75 out of 10 for the loco. Overall, I would say very well deserving. It is a great little thing, a nice little thing, loco to own. I definitely would recommend it if you want one of these. Definitely a nice little addition to any collection.